line at 205-342-9904. Check in with our great friend, Brent Beaird, who follows college football unlike any individual on the face of the earth. And I guess like everyone else, Brent, you were very interested by the events of yesterday as they related to the Southeastern Conference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was a mixed bag for the SEC yesterday with I'm not stunned very often, Trav, but I was almost stunned by the Kentucky win over Penn State. If you can run and stop the run, you're going to win. LSU beating UCF was certainly a feather in their cap, as depleted as they were defensively. Disappointing showing by both Mississippi State and obviously Georgia last night. So, certainly some good and bad for the conference, right?
There was a 2-2 day on New Year's Day. A lot of great exposure once again for the league because it was pretty much SEC football from morning till midnight. Let's start with the early game, Mississippi State and Iowa. I thought that was a game in which Mississippi State would take care of business. It looked like for a while there that would be the case. What about Joe Moorhead's first season in Starkville? Did we really learn anything about where this program is headed with Moorhead? It just seemed like nothing really happened this season other than bringing the Egg back to Starkville, beating Ole Miss, which we all anticipated. Do we know anything about State moving forward with Joe Moorhead?
Look, I'm with you. I still think it's up in the air. To me, it was somewhat disappointing. I mean, when you got 17 starters coming back, and among them a senior quarterback that many thought was one of the better ones in the league, and the way they really finished, I thought it was very disappointing, particularly offensively. Trav, the thing that puzzled me on their last drive was I thought Fitzgerald, that State would have been much better if he would have used his legs instead of his arm. I mean, when he's throwing the ball, you never really know what's going to happen. And again, you got one of these funky things to where the State's receivers open in the end zone, the ball bounces off of him, and it's intercepted. That's one of those 50-50 games that we never really knew where it was going to go. I'm with you. I thought State would win, but that was a real disappointing loss for them.
Yeah, I think State fans right now are thinking, what would we have done if Mullen was still our coach? With that returning talent that you outlined. I don't think that's an 8-win team. If Dan Mullen is still there. Speaking of which, Brent, you're down there in Northeast Florida. Boy, I think Dan Mullen got some bad news during this bowl season in a way. It's never a bad thing when you win a New Year's Six bowl game like the Gators did over Michigan in such impressive fashion while doing just that. But Georgia loses last night to Texas on a neutral field. I talked about this in the opening segment. I think Dan is going to have to deal with some expedited expectations, I guess you can say, in terms of Florida's readiness to truly compete with Georgia in the East because of how we overreact to these bowl games, Brent. What do you think? What's the vibe you're going to get, you think, from Florida fans after what we've seen in the last 4 or 5 days or so?
Well, and Trev, like Gator fans like I do, when they have a 10-win season and exceed expectations, they think they're ready for the NFL the next year, don't they? So that's the thing that you've got going on here. Look, 2 things to back up what you're saying. Number one, they don't have the line of scrimmage yet that Georgia does. And number 2, I know that Franks has come a million miles, but Trav, he's got a million more to go. And the reality is, particularly early in that Michigan game, he's got receivers wide open in the end zone. He doesn't look up and see until some of that's improved. And I still think Emory Jones is going to be their quarterback at that point. But, I mean, point well taken. And look, they'll end up what, Trav? When the rankings come out, they may be what, 7, 8, something like that.
Maybe ahead of Georgia. Maybe ahead of Georgia in the final poll.
Absolutely. Which is going to fuel that even more. And look, we're not necessarily being disparaging with them, but you and I both know that when they're down, I mean, it's like the worm crawling on his belly. But when they're up, they'll be shooting for the moon next year, won't they?
Yeah, manic, I guess, the best way to describe that mindset of that fan base. Let's talk about expectations moving forward for the SEC West based on overreactions from bowl games. You were there for Texas A&M's 45-0 run on NC State in the Gator Bowl a couple of nights ago. Look at the SEC West now. LSU snaps UCF's. Thankfully, O got that done. If nothing else, O got it done. LSU snaps UCF's 25-game win streak yesterday out in Glendale. Obviously going to be some heightened expectations for the Tigers. A&M with Jimbo moving forward. What about the West now in terms of the prime competitors to Alabama moving forward?
Yeah, and listen, and I know you've been out there, but A&M's for real. I think and I know a lot of people don't like him, but I can tell you this: he can recruit, he can coach, meaning Jimbo, and that bunch really looked good against NC State. Now Trevion Williams, I'm not sure if he comes back or not. It would certainly help them if he does. Sternberger, I love to see him stay another year, but I don't think he is. He's one of the better tight ends anywhere. But with Mike Elko as their D coordinator, I think they're going to be very good, and that's going to be a really tough game for Bama next year when they go there. I think now people may not know this yet, but LSU next year in September plays Texas in Austin, and that's going to be a really interesting game into Trav for both those teams. Frankly, particularly after the way Texas played last night. I'm still not sure Joe Burrow's. I think they've got to do better, but I don't know if they can at quarterback. Don't expect much more from Auburn than we got this year, and probably State. I think would be in there too. So look, I think as you look at expectations of the West, I think they've got to take a hard look at A&M, don't they, Travis?
I don't think there's any doubt about that. And that's where you have concern for Joe Moorhead at Mississippi State. Everybody else, the blue bloods in that division that are supposed to be really, really good are all about to be really, really good. And Auburn still factoring into that mix as well, although the quarterback situation will be interesting. What do you think about Auburn at quarterback in 2019? Is it Malik Wills? Is it Joey Gatewood? How do you see that sort of? Is it Bo Nix? How do you see that playing out for the Tigers?
Oh, I think it's Bo Nix before the year's over. I mean, Bo Nix is a tremendous talent. Now, Malik Willis, frankly, would have been much better fit for what Malzahn wants to run next year than Jared Stidham would have been, because Stidham never fit that system, frankly. But their talents in those young receivers. But Trav, do they have anywhere near an offensive line or a group of running backs to help the quarterback out, whoever it is? I think Gatewood may even end up transferring before it's over. But I think Malzahn would be smart if he started with Willis and brought Bo Nix along as the year went along.
Yeah, that's going to be fascinating to watch play out. I'm with you. Willis has that skill set that they need in the run game. But I've said it before. I think Bo Nix is going to bring some Connor Shaw type of toughness and good enough running ability, similar to what we saw with Connor Shaw at South Carolina under Steve Spurrier, but much greater upside as a passer than Connor Shaw ever was with the South Carolina Gamecocks. Talking with Brent Beaird of College Sports Today and First Coast News down in Jacksonville, Florida, on a Wednesday edition of Southern Fried Sports presented by Carty and Lloyd, attorneys at law. and Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa. All right, Brent, getting ready for this Alabama-Clemson 4 now. Fatigue of the rest of the country aside, what excites you most about this matchup once again between Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban?
I think it's and we thought it'd be this way at the beginning of the year. This two best teams in the country. I don't think right now it's not even that close. Although I do think Ohio State and Georgia's rosters are somewhat comparable, and I think in a year or so will Texas. They continue on this trend, but. I mean, to me, obviously the quarterback battle is going to be fascinating. Bama fans need to realize Trevor Lawrence is a lot more accurate than the situation you had with Oklahoma with Kyler Murray. I mean, Murray can run better, but Lawrence can do the same thing. We've talked all year how good that front four is. Going to be such a challenge for the Alabama offensive line. I'm not going to say that they necessarily marry each other, but I mean, as far as this is by far the two best rosters in America, and I think that's what fascinates me as much as anything else.
What's your biggest concern for Alabama going into this matchup, Brent?
Can they protect Tua with the front line? I think that's always a concern. And look, when you've got two teams that are as even as they are, the concern always goes to the kicking game. And Bama's has been so up and down this year. And if this thing comes down to having an extra point or a field goal or needing to have a punt that goes but beyond 40 or 50 yards, there's still a lot of mystery there to me.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. So we won't talk to you again until the Wednesday after the national championship game. So give us your pick here and kind of how you think this game's going to play out between the Crimson Tide and Tigers.
Well, I still think Bama wins, and I think it very well may be a nail-biter. I mean, I think this thing could be 24-21. I mean, would it shock me if with these quarterbacks, if it got into the 40s or something like that? I think that's possible, but I do think these defenses are good enough and they're opportune enough to where that they can get some turnovers. So I'm going to say Bama wins, and it will be in the 20s.
There you go. Brent Beaird of College Sports Today and First Coast News, as always, does a great job for us. Brent, Happy New Year. Look forward to talking to you again after Monday night out in Santa Clara, California. Thanks a lot, Brent.
Me too, pal. Happy New Year. Take care.